Well, cameras like these bring in millions of dollars to local governments, but are those eyes in the sky really making intersections safer? Our investigative team is combing through the latest state data. And we found that 33% of communities with cameras saw the number of crashes increase, while 5% stayed virtually the same year to year. There was a greater increase in the number of crashes resulting from running a red light at 38%, while 14% had the same amount as the year prior. Now, that's all while communities and the state are cashing in. In part two of our series, Seeing Red, Seeing Green, investigative reporter Jennifer Titus takes a look at how that money is used and if it's making any of those intersections safer.
Mark was my incredible husband. He was brilliant, bold, and he was kind, and he loved me. He wanted to be a dad.
Melissa Wandel was 9 months pregnant when she started feeling sick.
I didn't feel good at all, just in a matter of moments. Walked in the door, so I told my husband, I said, why don't you and Phil, my brother, go get something to eat, and then I'll see you in a little bit. And he said, but I love you, Melissa, and I'm gonna miss you. And I said, well, I miss you too, silly, but I'll see you in just a couple of hours.
A couple of hours later, the phone rang.
I got one of those calls that you never want to get, that there had been a crash. And I got to the corner and there was just lights and sirens everywhere. And the world just stopped.
Mark was killed in the crash. Melissa's brother was seriously injured. Their lives changed because a driver ran a red light.
And so that scene, that night, that crash should have never happened. That night, a person just simply didn't stop on red.
19 days later, Melissa gave birth to their daughter, Grace.
She was born into loss.
Melissa soon learned the driver who killed Mark had a long history of traffic violations, including running red lights.
She had 10 points on her license and 7 previous violations. Her last offense was for running a red light and being ticketed for it. A year later, she comes back and she not only takes a ticket, but she takes a life.
The penalty? A $500 fine and community service. That's when Melissa decided that grief alone wasn't an option.
I didn't know about red light cameras. I knew that they were utilized, but I never paid attention to them at all. So what is something that we could do?
Melissa began researching red light safety cameras, then took her fight to Tallahassee with her daughter by her side.
You can't give up and you can't give in. You know, many times each year the bill didn't pass, and I would have people that would ask me, you know, aren't you disappointed? You've got to be disappointed. Yeah. This has got to be tiring. But I wasn't disappointing. I wasn't disappointed because we were educating.
That education paid off, and in 2010, the Mark Wandel Traffic Safety Act became law, allowing cities to install red light cameras in an effort to save lives.
So it's $150.
But years later, Eileen Fabregas started asking different questions.
Is that changing the behavior of people? Are people still running red light cameras?
After she was caught on camera facing a $158 fine.
Which I think is very steep.
She reached out to our team after getting the ticket, so we took a closer look. Our months-long investigation found that the latest data shows in more than half of Florida communities with cameras, crashes involving red light runners increased or stayed the same year over year. We also discovered cities in the state were collecting millions of dollars from the cameras. About $95 million worth of violations were paid last year.
Right. Is it keeping people safe, or is just money for their budgets?
Here's how Florida law says the $158 ticket has to be divided. $70 goes to the state of Florida's General Revenue Fund. $10 goes to help support trauma care and emergency medical services through the Department of Health. $3 goes to the Brain and Spinal Cord Injury Trust Fund, and $75 goes to the city or county where the violation occurred. We contacted every community operating red light cameras to ask how that money is used.
Orlando was one of the only cities we found that uses the money for traffic safety.
They utilize it for campaigns to help educate people.
Most cities told us the money goes into the general revenue with no way to track whether the money improves the intersections or driver safety.
If we're collecting over $400,000 a month out of 7 intersections, we're not changing behavior pretty clearly. Correct. Right. What we've done is we've created a fundraiser for government.
It's one reason Manatee County commissioners decided to not renew their red light camera contract back in 2022. Back at Melissa's house, when we first asked her if she'd change anything about the law,
I really don't think that I would change anything.
but after hearing where the money is going or not going,
At the end of the day, if we get back to that question of what would change in the bill, I would keep the bill exactly like it is, but then that general fund, if this much goes to the general fund, this $100 or whatever goes to the general fund, then, okay, let's tag that general fund to go back into, our, whatever happens with those out in our intersections, what can we do to improve it?
And we've also learned that when it comes to Georgia's law regarding red light cameras, that their statute specifically states that money collected has to be used for public safety. You can watch our entire investigation streaming now on the 10 Tampa Bay News app. I'm Jennifer Titus, 10 Investigates.
And again, there is another part of that investigative series, Seeing Red, Seeing Green. You'll find it again streaming right now on 10 Tampa Bay News. Just look for it in Investigates under the News tab.